So we'll discuss that. We'll also learn from our panelists here that how the managed services concept evolved over the period of time, which is, say, the life of managed services is last 5-6 years. And we'll also learn that where the managed services will go from today, and we'll see that what are the business challenges we are facing, typically a country like ours, and vis-a-vis the matured countries in telecom services like US and Europe. So that's maybe the basic topic for the discussion today, and we'll be more than happy and glad to take your want you guys to participate in this discussion. So raise your hands anytime, and I'm sure we'll have some microphone made available for you. So we'll situate that your thought process or your queries or your doubts will be incorporated in this discussion. Is that okay with you? Thank you. So I don't know, I think I'll start. I rubbed my shoulder with Samir for many years on managed services. So Samir, why don't you start your thought process in how managed services evolved in our country in telecom arena primarily?
Okay, thank you, Sandeep. And thanks to this institute, for providing us this opportunity to share our thoughts, from industry perspective with a young mind of yours. And I'm sure that, we, as we progress further, more and more of you would be participating in this industry and evolving this concept, to new dimensions and to new levels. Now, if we talk about managed services, and let me talk about India, that's because India is a growing market, emerging market, and the kind of growth we are seeing in India, barring China, we don't see anywhere else in the world. So this is the country to talk about, in today's scenario. So there were several waves of managed services in India. It started with the first wave, and the first wave was some of the operators wanted to have a scenario of buying a capacity rather than buying a buying the boxes. So it all started with Bharti Airtel, which said that they don't want to buy boxes from companies like Nokia, Siemens, and Ericsson. They want to buy a capacity. They want to buy a square kilometer of coverage, or they want to buy so and so hour lengths of traffic. And that drove the equipment vendors to say that, well, if you want to buy capacity, then it has to be attached with the services which go with it. That is for operating, maintaining, and managing the network.
Just to start the discussion here, there are two aspects in telecom. One is, of course, the network part, and the other is the IT part. And as Sandeep and Samir were talking about, we spoke in the previous session about the network side of the business, where we talk about towers, the network, the bandwidth, and the cables, and the microwaves, and so on and so forth. What we are finding is that the IT part is playing a major role, and as far as telecom networks are concerned, the BSS and the OSS part of the solutions are the heart and soul of any network service provider. Of course, there are other parts which are becoming important, like value-added services, and my friend here, Mr. Mahapatra, will speak more about that. But having said that, let me touch upon the BSS and OSS part and what's happening there. We all know that the telecom operator has to bill for the services which is being consumed by the user, people like you and me. And billing, and for one of the critical requirements for billing is to have the CDRs in a particular fashion, which is done by mediation. And mediation is becoming very critical to make sure that all the information you're gathering from the switch, from the network elements, are coming in one format which can be read by the billing system, by the other ecosystem systems in the whole dynamics of revenue generation. So what is critical is, and especially from the Indian context, is the mediation and interconnect and the billing software itself are key components to the entire revenue generation process. In the Indian context, it's gathering a different momentum because what we are finding is that we are doing projects. By the way, I represent Intec here, and Intec is a BSS OSS company having, #1 position in interconnect solution and also in mediation and retail billing. We are the 6th largest vendor in retail billing, and one of the large customers here which I work with is Sandeep's ex-organization, which is Reliance Infocom. They have a huge billing system there. So what is becoming critical in the Indian context is the huge volumes. There are operators here where the transaction on the mediation system is becoming as large as 500 million per day. That is the type of transactions which are flowing through the system. So what does it lead to? It leads to a situation where who wants to deal with hardware and software and the operating environment and so on and so forth when the requirements are becoming so large and so huge that you don't know how to manage and maintain that and offer effective service to your customers. So the concept of managed services in OSS and BSS is becoming critical from the telecom operator's perspective, because now they do not want to have those systems in their purview. Give it to a systems integrator who can run it and manage it for them, and also make sure that the capacity on demand is met as and when the operator grows or the business comes down, and he does pay per use in that mode. Added to this is, I would say, a very strong influence of the technology change we are seeing in the hardware industry, where the servers are going away and we are looking at blade servers. Blades is the in thing now, the concept which companies like HP, IBM, Cisco are all adapting, and Sun and Dell. And what Blade does is creates a virtualized environment. And you'll hear more and more about cloud computing coming in the future. Cloud is nothing but a managed services type of operation. The only difference is you do pay per use rather than having SI manage it for you. So just to cut short here, I'll just sum it up here. What I said is, from the BSS OSS perspective, you will find a whole new slew of applications which are coming in, which are cloud enabled, number one, which are in a offered to the customers in a managed services mode. And of course, there are bureau services which will be available. For example, there will be a company who sets up a billing software organization, and what operators can do is send their CDRs and their rating plan and gets the output without bothering about installing a billing system and all that stuff. So this is the change we are seeing in the marketplace today, and it's very important we grow along with those changes and make sure we implement the right systems to cater to it.
Yeah. I had the opportunity of putting up around 85,000 towers in Airtel. So it was a big challenge. So the thing is that when we started, we were taking around 400 towers per month. So then I think it was taken as a call, can we try to do much more? And in Airtel generally, CapEx was not a limitation and CapEx was not a problem. So there was a thing when I met Akhil Gupta. He asked, what is it you want? And why are you limiting yourself? Can you put up 10,000 towers per year? We took the challenge and we did. Next year he increased it to 18, we did. Next year we increased to 30,000, we did. So that is how the growth has happened, and from 400 towers into 3,500 towers in 1 month in March 2008, we clocked. This is a story when we were doing things on our own. During this particular process, the operations was becoming a challenge. Do we have the domain knowledge? Are you capable of doing that particular job? Or is it time for us to look out? The project management of this particular role was becoming tough. It's challenging. Whatever said and done, my core strength as an operator is to build a brand and take care of the customers. Acquire customers, take care of customers, and building the brand. These are the core values and things that is important to an operator. Hence, all the other functions were talked and thought, should we give it out?